Kitchen Sink is not how to write an application. Kitchen Sink is basically what it is. It's just everything thrown in there. So if there's anything that you ever want to know how to do using the framework, you load up the Kitchen Sink application and you look for a specific example of it and it shows you how to do it. Now I'm going to see if I can actually get it to run so I can show you. There's someone out there who knows how to make this fit. Screen.
You can go to Zoom on the, if you go to the virtualization interface, yeah. iOS simulator, yeah. There's a Zoom feature under
Well, if I can just get the screen.
Window.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, go up to window, go to window, scale. That's where it was.
All right, let me see if I can try one other thing here.
Yeah, I think the projector itself.
The projector, I think, is like
So I'm never going to get there?
Oh, I think it's by 600.
All right, let me see if I can just show. I can't even get to the bottom of this.
Try 800 by 600 projector.
Oh, that's my LCD trying to project. Projector's on 800 by 600. I think it's because I only have a VGA cable. Let me see if I can get this to work another way. Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. All right. Wow. Now how can I make it bigger? Can you guys see that? Okay, so this is basically Kitchen Sink. After this, I'll fire it up on Android. They have this exact same code that runs on iOS will run on Android. What you do is, so what it does here, it gives you an example of how to create tab groups in your application, how to animate the tab groups, basically all of these things. There's code inside of the Kitchen Sink, which is this guy right here, with all the resources. And then inside of examples, and that's how to do it. So for example, you're writing your application on Android, you don't know what you're doing. You want to make the next greatest app. You never coded anything in your life. Do what 50% of the people that I see in the forums do. You go here, you search for Android, you cut and paste your code, and you drop it into JavaScript. You compile it, and your application's running. Now, that will show you how to do it. It will show you how the functionality works, but it's not really going to make you a mobile developer. But the point is that there's a lot of good documentation here, a lot of good stuff to get you started inside of the Kitchen Sink. You can download it from the website also. I highly recommend using it as a reference to understand functionality, but not how to write an application. Let me see if I can get the other big thing. Appcelerator, about 6 or 8 months ago, bought Aptana. Aptana created a IDE based on Eclipse. Appcelerator bought it and integrated their technology directly into it, and now they release it, and it's called Titanium Studio. If I can, I'm going to try and use the pictures here since it looks like my screen is not going to get to be big enough to show it, unfortunately. I think it would be the last thing I'll do for questions since this isn't going as well as I had hoped. I might have better luck answering questions than doing the presentation. It's a demo. There we go. So it's called Titanium Studio. And so what it will do is it'll give you most of the stuff that developers are used to seeing. It'll give you code completion, code assist for the methods and the API for Accelerator. You can also create your custom code assist in there if you like. It has an integrated terminal inside the IDE, so if you don't like toggling back and forth, it's all right in there for you. It will do inline validation of your JavaScript code. There's also it basically runs a JS lint against your JavaScript code. It'll indicate what all your errors are for you. It has debugging, so you can do JavaScript debugging inside of the IDE also, which is very helpful, much better than print lines. And I think that's pretty much it. Since I said, let me see. I was trying to, if I can get the network is gone again. I was trying to show a demo application that I wrote. I really got started with, I have a few more minutes left.
Yeah, around 5.
5 minutes? Then I'll stop there and answer questions then. Does anybody have any questions about Accelerator, about my experience using it or anything like that? I'm happy to answer.
How much does it cost? I'm sorry.
Oh, I believe, don't hold me to this, because like I said, I don't work for them. I believe that the indie, which is kind of the lowest level in, is like $20 a month or something like that.
So this is just JavaScript, JavaScript and HTML5.
You were writing in JavaScript, yes.
I've used it before. You can write HTML5, but it's not going to be the native components. But you can write HTML.
You can, once again, I'll say PhoneGap to people. You can do PhoneGap with it if you like. But my suggestion to people, if you want to do PhoneGap, do PhoneGap. I mean, don't waste your time dealing with all the other complexities that go along with learning another framework if you're just going to bring up a web view and write HTML and render inside.
Yeah, relative to using Objective-C or Java to bridge the smartphone to tablet form factor, how does Titanium do? And I guess if AppMobi has something relevant to say about that too.
Just quickly, I did not show it. The Accelerator does have access to all the native iPad controls. So the split view window, kind of the new way that a modal dialog pops up, all of that stuff are controls. And so it kind of goes to what I call the myth of the write once, run everywhere. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. I don't want to offend anyone, but if you know how to write software, you decouple your presentation layer from your business layer. If you don't know how to write software, you put it all together. So then what happens is, when you decide to make your application work, when you've written your stuff for iOS and you try to go to Android, everyone knows that an Android device, the native controls function differently. If you tightly coupled your software, it's going to break. If you haven't tightly coupled it, then your business logic is separate, and then you make minor modifications to the presentation layer so that on Android it looks like Android. That same approach goes to the iPad. So if your business logic is decoupled from your presentation layer, when you go to port to iPad, you would then use, for example, the split view controller, because that's kind of how an iPad application works, with the list on the left and the content on the right.
Well, do you end up supporting more than one version, or do you just have, check, or do you say, am I on an iPad or am I on
But
Android?
the approach that I take is that, well, there's two things. One, with Accelerator, when you create the project directory, you can create an Android directory and an iPhone directory. And when the code is compiled, it will, if there's so for example, if I have a file called mainwindow.js, if I have it in the Android directory, when I'm compiling for Android, it will pull the file out of that directory as opposed to the other directory. So that's one way to separate the code. And if you want, do you want to answer? He had
You're answering.
okay.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Does the studio have anything like an interface builder, or do you build your views or like XML?
You build your views the old-fashioned way. or not really like XML, but it's kind of a layer. So you would say create window, then you add a view inside the window. They do have a horizontal and vertical layout, which will kind of force the way that things appear, but that's about it. I heard in training that that it is coming, that they are actually working on that. And speaking of that, they do offer training classes and certification and all that other stuff also, if people are interested. That's it. No?
How's the performance?
Performance question. It varies. So the framework, the reality is the framework performs better on iOS than it does on Android. The place that you will find most problems are in the table view. You know, you see people who complain they want to put 2,500 items in a table view and they don't understand why it's scrolling slowly. I think I saw some guy here who said he's a user experience guy. I think that he would have some advice for them. You know, why do you got 2,500 items? I mean, come on. So, but yes, if you Google it or if you even go in the forum, you'll see people who have run into issues where even if you have, you know, up to, if you have like 500 items in a view, really what it comes down to is rendering the controls in the view. So to get the proper layout, to answer this gentleman's previous question, if I want to have your picture and then a title and then some more information and then some more buttons, each one of those are separate controls. And on Android, you can start to see a little bit of degradation when you start to scroll on the iOS, but on Android, when you start to scroll, especially if you have an older device, it's not very happy.